First time I read this, I remember where I was. I was at Fellowship Hall, and I had just gotten out of treatment, and they read this, and it was like an abrupt slap in the face. It was like, that is some pretty strong language, right? There's no, like, well, could I kind of drink, you know, can I? No, I mean, that was pretty clear. And since then, I've heard that thing people say in the rooms, a cucumber, once it becomes a pickle, can never become a cucumber again. You know, and that's the same kind of thing. And when I first heard it in that room, when it gets to the part that says, physicians, science may one day accomplish this, I was young, right? I was young when I got sober, so I thought, well, they could come up with a cure, right? And I thought, maybe I'm going to hang out and do this thing, and they're going to come up with a cure, and I'm going to be okay, and this will just be all good, you know? But of course, at that time, I didn't know what was wrong with me. I thought it was the drinking and the drugs that were the problem. I didn't understand I had a mental illness. And it wasn't going to be, maybe a lobotomy or something would do it, but a pill wasn't going to fix it, you know. And, you know, here I am a lot of years later after a terrible relapse and, you know, a struggle to make it back. And I'll tell you, if somebody told me right now, we're going to give you a pill and you're going to be able to drink like other people. You won't have the program anymore, but you'll drink like other people. I wouldn't take it. I don't know what's happened, when it happened, but the idea that I have this answer, that I have some purpose today, that life has some meaning, that I can help others, this instant connect I have with God, so I don't have to have a lot of fear. You know, I have fear, but I know what to do about it. You know, I have a power greater than myself that I rely on all the time. If I had to give that up, I don't think I would. I think I'd pass. I just wouldn't do it. And I think that's really what they're talking about when they say, you know, you've got to have a strong answer. Because that's a strong answer. You know, I mean, I wouldn't trade it for the world. You know, and that's a big thing to say, you know, because there were years when I would walk down the street and see the people at the little cafe tables on the side, the little romantic music, and they're drinking wine, and I'd think, fuck, you know, what about me? You know, my little club soda and lime, you know, real fucking romantic, you know. You know. So, I mean, there was years of that. And what I found is it's just all this big mind fuck. You know, it really is. I mean, I love what Judy shared. I totally relate to that. You know, I did that to myself when I first drank again after all those years. I drank, and then I realized my mistake. I was leaving the country, and I got to my destination and thought, oh, fuck, what did I do? I just won't drink again, and I'll go back home, go to my 7 a.m., and I'll just pretend like nothing happened. And I did that for a year. And I didn't drink, but I thought about it every day. I was plagued with thinking about it. And my thoughts weren't, you know, oh, I got to have a drink. My thoughts were, this is how cunning the disease was. My thoughts were, well, I didn't turn into a pumpkin or anything, right? Nothing bad happened. I drank. Everything's fine. Maybe I made a big deal out of this. Maybe this isn't as big as I thought. Maybe I was just really young. I think, and then, you know, man, I could have been drinking for the last 15 years, right? Same thought. And then it came time for me to take a cake, and I couldn't take a cake. I just couldn't take a cake for 16 years. I just absolutely couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And the very next day, I had a handle of vodka and 2 bottles of Chardonnay in my shopping cart. And it was like, boom, I lost everything. Like, man, it hit hard. And that's how cunning that thing is, man. It fucked around with me for a year. For a year, it was doing that thing like she said. You know, just exactly that. Fucking grasp on to any idea that I'm okay. I can do this. I made a bigger deal out of this than I thought, you know. Maybe it was circumstance, you know. Maybe everybody partied, you know. All that shit went through my head for a fucking year. And, you know, I'm glad I made it back. I really am. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. You know, I think if you stay here long enough, eventually that's what happens, is you switch and you want to be here. It's not a life sentence, it's a blessing, you know.